National Weather Service in Raleigh. It's Nick Petro with your tropical storm Debby briefing here at 5:30 Thursday, August 8th, 2024. And this will be our final briefing for Debby, as Debby is expected to wind down across central North Carolina overnight tonight, leaving just a river flooding issue, sort of in its wake. And we'll cover that here in just a minute. So let me switch screens real quick and show the current radar. And you can see it's been a busy afternoon. It's all these rain bands that you see still rotating around. These bands here, there's some heavy rain here as you get up close to the Virginia border, over towards the Triad region, Winston-Salem. You can see there's heavy downpours, probably some wind gusts up around 30. Those bands will continue to rotate and lift north across central North Carolina. These bands northeast of Raleigh, we've had to issue a couple tornado warnings in the past couple hours. These bands here northeast of Raleigh will still have the capability to produce very quick hitting real quick spin ups of tornadoes that might briefly touch down and do some damage and then dissipate fairly quickly. So we're going to be keeping a close eye. That risk will continue through this evening. We do have a tornado watch. It'll, I believe, expire at 8 p.m. So again, keeping an eye on that. But again, these showers will have the capability of producing anywhere from a half to maybe up to an inch of rain, additional rain. So any places that still have flash flood issues, certainly this may add to it if one of those bands goes over an area that's still flooding. And you can see I just overlaid the green boxes. There are our ongoing flash flood warnings. So again, if you're in the northern Piedmont region or the northern coastal plain region, just be careful. Continue to be careful and watch out for flooded roads. Never cross areas where water covers the roadway. So again, these last couple bands will be the case through the rest of the evening. So let me go ahead and switch back my slides here. Let me just kind of get this all situated here. And so here's kind of like an overview of the situation. The remaining bands of rain rotating around Debby will begin to diminish and then move east of I-95 overnight tonight. So basically after midnight or so, we should really begin to see things begin to settle down across central North Carolina. In the meantime, these scattered rain bands may result in locally heavy downpours, which may drop a quick inch of additional rain. A lot of places may not even see additional rain, especially if you're down near Fayetteville, Laurinburg, Rockingham. If you're in those areas, Pinehurst area, you can see in the coastal, you can see in the Sandhills region and southern coastal plain, there probably won't be a whole lot of additional rain, but and a lot of places will remain dry. But if you do get under one of those rain bands, there could be a quick inch of additional rain. And remember, the aforementioned rain bands I talked about could also produce isolated tornadoes, mainly east and northeast of Raleigh, and that risk will continue through the mid-evening hours this evening. The risk for flash flooding should decrease this evening as the rain bands wind down and move to our east. But then on the other hand, again, we don't want to overlook this. The main stem rivers across central North Carolina won't crest until Friday or Saturday, so river flooding will continue to be an ongoing hazard through the weekend. Okay, so this next slide is a simulation of how we think the rain bands and the remaining showers will progress through the evening and overnight hours. And you can see, through this evening, 8 and 11 p.m., pretty much more of the same, more of these bands rotating through. A lot of places will stay dry, but, there'll be a lot of places that get wet, maybe an additional inch of rain for some spots if you get under one of these heavy bands. Again, we have to be watchful for the risk for isolated tornadoes, particularly east and northeast and north of Raleigh. But look, by 2 a.m., you can see things really begin to settle down. And by 5 a.m., most of it's east of I-95, and then really just continuing to improve throughout the day on Friday. I think we'll see quite a bit of sunshine on Friday, temperatures climbing through the 80s, getting close to 90 in some spots that see the most sunshine. So anyway, that's how we expect this to wind down as we head through the night tonight. All right, so let's, with that in mind, let's shift gears to the river situation. Now, let's go basin by basin. First, starting with the Cape Fear River Basin. And these are fairly fresh forecasts. The Ha River, which obviously feeds part of the Cape Fear Basin, we can see is expected to crest on Friday there, just about right at major flood stage, and then come down thereafter. Same thing at Bynum, still expected to crest in major flood stage again during the daytime tomorrow, Friday, at 18 feet. We can see the deep river at Moncure. Right now, that's starting to kind of make the turn. Looks like now it's going to stay below moderate flood stage at Moncure, so that's good news. The Cape Fear at Lillington is right on track with the forecast, so looking at moderate flooding there, cresting at about 20 feet during the afternoon Friday. The Little River at Manchester is making the turn. That's good news. So hopefully this forecast will be able to be reduced. But right now it looks like that's going to make the turn and crest during the afternoon on Friday. The Cape Fear at Fayetteville, that forecast has come down quite a bit, actually. Now we only have it getting up to 53.6 feet, which again is good news, and that appears to be on track, cresting during the daytime on Saturday. The Black River near Tomahawk, again, more good news that this is starting to, the rate of increase is really slowing down. So probably continuing to rise, but well below perhaps the official forecast for the river stage there. So we'll keep you updated about that. Shifting to the Tar River Basin, the Tar River at Lewisburg looks like it's headed for major flood stage, cresting there during the evening or overnight into Saturday morning, tomorrow evening. The Tar River at Rocky Mount is also on its way up, forecast to crest here in major. And then finally, Tarboro is expected to react a little more slowly. It's going to take a while for that water to get down to Tarboro, but cresting around 30 feet later in the weekend. Fishing Creek at Enfield, we expect basically getting right barely into moderate flood stage. We'll keep an eye on that. Now, shifting to the lower Roanoke. So you can see here the Roanoke River at Roanoke Rapids, no concerns at the moment, and Scotland Neck as well. All right, so shifting to the Neuse River, here we have the Neuse River at Clayton, expected to crest at moderate, 13.7 during the afternoon tomorrow. So that has come down. We earlier had it at major, so that's excellent news. Also good news is the Neuse River at Smithfield is barely going to get into major, and that will crest during the evening on Friday. So that has since come down throughout the day in terms of the forecast. So good news there as well. At Goldsboro, by the time the water gets down there, it will probably hover right around major and stay there for a couple days through early next week. So again, that's we'll be keeping an eye on that. But a lot of river to head downstream towards Goldsboro, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. Looking west towards the Yadkin, we can see barely getting into flood stage at Yadkin College there, so that's good news. And once again, highlighting the Rocky River, which is expected to crest probably well below our forecast. Again, great news for the Rocky River Norwood area. Okay, so that covers the rivers. Just real quick, just to reiterate, the tornado threat will continue this evening, mainly to the north and east of Raleigh. But that should, again, begin to wind down late tonight as the whole situation simmers down and the cells move east of I-95 toward eastern North Carolina. So again, just kind of summarizing it, all the conditions, again, should begin to improve overnight, with the exception of the river flooding, which will be ongoing through Friday and in some locations through the weekend. So how are we going to wrap this up? Well, again, as I mentioned earlier, a quick inch of additional rain is possible as some additional bands rotate around Debby. Again, don't forget that isolated tornado risk north and east of Raleigh. Flash flooding threat should decrease, although, again, a quick inch of rain could result in some additional concerns for flash flooding. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that. And I want to mention, even though this is the last Debby briefing, We will have river-specific briefings that'll be emailed out throughout the weekend and posted on our webpage at weather.gov/Raleigh. So again, this is the final live webinar and the final comprehensive briefing package for Debby. And then we're going to shift focus. Any future briefings that you get will be specifically focused on the river situation, and we'll be sending those out periodically through the weekend. So, anyway, so that wraps up real quick before we end the webinar. Let's just switch right quick back to the radar just to show again additional cells we're keeping an eye on. In fact, there's a new tornado warning from the National Weather Service of Blacksburg as of 5:40 on August 8th here for southwestern Caswell County. So that's in effect till 6. So again, keeping an eye on these bands, mainly north into the east of Raleigh is where we think that tornado threat will be ongoing. So again, fortunately though, a lot of this will again begin to wind down overnight tonight. So with that, thanks so much for joining.